Ashley Brogan says she was a prisoner inside the trailer where she lived with her abusive boyfriend and his parents. When she finally told Willie Hale she was leaving, he didn't let her go on her own.
No, he stabbed her and then dragged her out into the woods by her hair. What he didn't know is that a deputy sheriff was on his way.
WSLS sends Angela Hatcher has the incredible rescue as seen by the deputy that day. Angela?
John and Lindsay, on August 29th, 2015, Ashley Brogan told Willie Hale she was leaving him. She called her mom to come get her, and as soon as she hung up, Willie stabbed her. Her parents got text messages from her phone telling them not to come, but words weren't spelled out like Ashley would type them, so they knew those texts were from Willie. Her mom called police, and her dad met Sergeant Jeremy Gardner at the home.
Where could they have gone, sir?
Getting no straight answer from the suspect's father and facing a path that was anything but straight, Sergeant Jeremy Gardner takes off from the back porch of 1284 Breezy Hill Road.
I wasn't going to let any grass grow underneath me. I was determined to find them. I knew that they hadn't left at the front. I knew that they hadn't taken a vehicle. I knew that the only path or the travel that they could have taken was on foot.
Wearing shorts to go on bike patrol that late summer afternoon, Sergeant Gardner will use his bare legs, eyes, and intuition to get through the dense woods in front of him. His body camera captures every step. 2 minutes in, there's an open cattle gate.
I could see where saplings had been folded over, or either a large deer or person or persons had walked along a path. I would get to where there would be no grass, it would be dirt, but there wasn't any signs of footprints. So I would come to a fork and I would have to figure out which way did they go. And it would either be me walking to a point where there was grass and I should be able to tell whether there's disturbance or not, or I'd run into a spider web. Well, certainly, I'm running into spider webs. Nobody went that way.
Things he learned to look for hunting, not through some advanced training. He's not looking down for blood drops. In fact, he doesn't even know Willie Hale stabbed Ashley Brogan. He looks out at these woods, every bit a labyrinth.
Exactly like a maze. Come to an end, have to turn around and come back.
After roughly 9 minutes of rough terrain and dead ends,
I see you.
He sees Ashley Brogan is alive, but not well. Her attacker tries to regain control of the situation.
On your knees. On your knees. I'm not going to ask you again. Stop talking to her. He's trying to talk to her, and I'm not having it.
Sergeant Gardner pulls the knife from Hale's pocket. With Hale in handcuffs and Ashley faint and covered in blood, he radios dispatch.
Yes, I am going to need some assistance. It's going to be a long walk, and just trying to figure out how I'm going to do this. It was a logistical nightmare for me. I don't know how I'm going to be able to get her out of there. I don't know how I'm going to be able to coordinate rescue to find us. I know that I'm not going to trust him just to walk out of this quarter-mile trail with me. He's walking with me. Okay. I've got my hand on. Bev, we're trying to make her way out this time. She's saying that she can walk now. You okay, ma'am? No, ma'am. I'd like you to stay a little bit behind.
A safe distance from Hale.
Ashley, tell him I didn't.
You're being detained. Stop talking, please. You understand you have the right to remain silent?
They reach the yard. Sergeant Gardner gets Hale into the patrol car. An ambulance arrives. Ashley is able to speak without Willie Hale telling her what to say or do.
And he told me when you was coming, he said, if you move or you say anything, he said, I'm going to stab you. He said, don't move and don't say anything. And then he put the knife right there, and I knew if you wouldn't saw us, what was going to happen.
I could have not found them. I could have came to a wall of spider webs, if you will, and realized that I was on the wrong path the entire time and been followed some deer.
Whether he knew it at the time, Sergeant Gardner was on the right path to save Ashley. Now she's well on her way to saving herself, and she hopes other women from domestic abuse.
Now, Ashley Brogan was on board with this story as soon as we asked, and we should mention she gave permission to the sheriff's office to release the video of her to us. She wanted people to see it, to see him, because she wants what she went through to matter. And tonight at 11, we'll share her reunion with Sergeant Gardner and her plans to encourage other women who feel they don't have a voice.